Danish media have hit out at refereeing decisions and cowardly tricks that they believe cost them a place in the Euros final on Sunday, while telling readers they are still lucky to live in Denmark because of the UK's COVID death toll. "There was no penalty," ran a headline in one of the country's biggest newspapers, Berlingske, referring to the extra-time spot kick that was won by Sterling and, eventually, converted by Kane that proved to be the deciding moment. Meanwhile, tabloid Extra Blades attacked the disgusting and cowardly trick by an England fan who shone a laser at Kasper Schmeichel as Kane lined up his shot. And, in one particularly scathing dispatch from the street parties in London, journalist Paul Hoy attacked Britain's poor leadership and COVID death toll as evidence that readers are lucky to live in Denmark, football result aside. "Let the English party," he wrote bluntly. "They have nothing else." Describing scenes of drunken jubilation in the British capital following the win, he added, "It is no coincidence that the third wave began in the British Isles and that it is so much more dramatic than elsewhere. Nor is it God's random punishment that the country has the most corona deaths in Europe. It could have been avoided. But it was not avoided because the leadership is too poor. And the corona fad is not an exception, but characteristic of a country that is so convinced of its exceptionalism that it even thinks itself exempt from a pandemic." He concluded, "Let them party. And instead rejoice that you have woken up in Denmark today." Denmark had been hoping to make it to their second Euros final on Wednesday, having reached it once before in 1992 when they beat Germany to claim the title. Meanwhile, England were looking to make history by reaching the final for the first time ever, with an enticing clash with Italy and Wembley awaiting them. Denmark scored first, a free kick by 21-year-old Mikkel Damsgaard bulging England's net for the first time this tournament, before an own goal by captain Simon Kjær leveled things up before the half. England dominated the second half as Denmark dug in defence, repelling wave after wave of attacks until Sterling was brought down in the box in the first half of extra time and referee Danny Mickley pointed to the spot. The decision, backed up on review by VAR, made him an instant villain in Denmark, with many column inches dedicated to picking apart the call. The dream and hope were ruined in a split second by a wrong call from the Dutch judge, Extra Blade wrote. "What the hell is this?" Read another headline in BT, quoting furious Danish fans on social media who demanded a rematch and branded the referee a effing disgrace. But, in large part, the newspapers ignored England's performance altogether to praise the national side and look ahead excitedly to the future. "Thank you, boys," read the headline on newspaper BT. "Thank you for a fairy-tale," Danish Euros Politiken said from its front page, while describing a beautiful Danish defeat in its center pages. Writing in Extra Blade, former Danish national football coach Åge Hareide praised a team which he said has its brightest days ahead. "It has been an incredibly beautiful journey for Denmark and for the boys. You should be proud of their performance throughout," he wrote. "Denmark has many young players who can become really good in the years to come. Maybe you do not feel that way right now, but I can assure you that the sun is shining. The sky is really blue for Danish football." Newspaper Jyllands-Posten struck a similar tone, with their lead article saying, "The disappointment is great, but there is also reason to be optimistic." the development in the Danish game and a new energy-creating connection between the Danish players and fans gives national coach Kasper Hjulmand faith in a bright future for the national team. Meanwhile, columnist Thomas Möller Christensen added, "We must not feel sorry for ourselves, we must be proud. Let the national team be embittered over the semi-final defeat. The rest of us just have to be grateful for the experiences, and for the prospect of a golden future." But Danish media were not the only ones reacting to last night's game. Italian newspapers were also watching closely, sizing up their opponents for the final. The verdict was largely damning, as back pages attacked the English as bores on the pitch while saying they relied on the referee for the win. In the popular Italian newspaper Corriere dello Sport, Thursday's headline makes a gag about the Italian for a custard pudding, which roughly translates as English for. Below, they wrote, "Southgate needs the help of the referee to reach the final against Italy." Another major Italian paper, Gazzetta dello Sport, proudly declared, "Let's take the crown," adding that Denmark frightened England. Meanwhile, Bein Sports correspondent Tancredi Palmieri tweeted in reference to the popular Three Lions song, "It's diving home."